a quick correction from yesterday's program. I had reported that Jamie Dornan, who played Grey in 50 Shades of Grey and has been in other movies as well, British or Irish actor, I believe we determined. Anyway.
We just guessed.
Yeah. He was bitten by or came in contact with a caterpillar, which can cause serious injury to humans and death to certain animals, smaller animals. And Jamie Dornan thought he was having a heart attack because of this caterpillar. My wife corrected me. I said he was camping in Germany.
Yes.
He was golfing in Portugal. All right. There
Those
it is.
are
two very different
different activities.
Wow.
Yeah. I had read a different story about golfing in Germany and had accidentally transposed the two in my mind. And on the grid, I had made an error and said that he was camping in Germany. And my wife informed me when I got home, he's actually golfing in Portugal. And she found it interesting because apparently those caterpillars that cause this kind of, it mimics a heart attack. He had like numbness in his arm and chest pain and trouble breathing. So he thought he was having a heart attack. And she said, I thought it was interesting because apparently caterpillars were all over the golf course in Portugal. And one got on him while he was golfing. That was on me. And as broadcasters, we own it. Okay. And I just said, I own that.
You proudly skim.
Mm-hmm. And my wife said, you don't have to ever bring that up again. And I said, but I will. Because I'm a broadcaster. I owe
it to the listener.
I'm a broadcaster.
Do you think on a given, let's say, work week of 5 days, how many times does your wife, Kelly, approach you when you get home and say, here's a list of errors?
Well, if I tasked her with that, I think she probably could do that often. I would say on any given
daily.
day. I think daily she could have, if she really wanted to write down the mistakes. I mean, Rusty's our fact checker. He hits me almost every single segment. And says, yeah, you screwed that up. No, you missed that.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. I will say it's probably good you corrected this.
You think?
Because you could have just saved a life.
Yeah.
Because somebody might be having a real heart attack. But they'll be like, no, this is that thing that Jamie Dornan had when he was camping in Germany. This wouldn't happen in Portugal.
Now, right. You may have crippled the camping industry in Germany.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or I may have saved the golfing industry in Portugal. Yeah. We don't know how it's going to turn out. They ripple in a pond. Who knows where it's going? One person reports this. And I was also inspired to correct it because we just lost the great broadcaster Charles Osgood. And I thought, I bet he never made a mistake like that. I bet he never said. Osgood was 91. He headed up the show Dave and I watch religiously every Sunday, CBS Sunday Morning. He was the longtime host of that show. His final sign-off.
It's been a great run, but after nearly 50 years at CBS, including the last 22 years here at Sunday Morning, the time has come. Between now and my last Sunday morning, I've got to practice singing that old Weavers song. So long, it's been good to know you. So long, it's been good to know you. Been a long time since I've been home, and I've got to be drifting along. I will see you on the radio.
That was his sign-off, and Chris Demm and I believe he invented that. I'll see you on the radio.
I mean, I first heard of the guy. First of all, I can't believe you're doing this again without Dave.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's anyone in this building who worships Charles Osgood,
you're right.
And I love Charles Osgood. He's one of the first people I actually remember because I grew up with CBS Sunday Morning.
But
my mom and I, like Dave.
My mom and I used to hear him on the radio. He would do like a weekly radio show.
Yes,
and it was incredible. It was a master storyteller.
I feel like Dave should be running down the hallway now to get here to do this.
What a terrible oversight. Oh, what a terrible oversight. That's the second time now that I have done that, something like this without Dave.
Because deep down, you're never going to forgive him for Buttongate.
All right. That was earlier in the week.
Buttongate.
Dave pushed a button he ought not to have. I've had numerous people come up to me and say, what happened on Monday? Yeah, Dave pushed a button he ought not to push.
I call it Buttongate because he will never really admit that
never quite gets there, does he? Always blames a generator or a battery or something.
Well, it should be labeled. He's very George Costanza about this.
You've got to label it. Yeah.
The button wasn't labeled.
Fact checker Rusty sent me the exact moment that it occurred. I really should have had it in here today to play it. But all it is we're chatting, and then bam, nothing. It's just silence.
Just pitch black.
It's like the end of The Sopranos. You're like,
yeah, it's the void.
Yeah, what just happened there? And for an hour and 15 minutes, we were off because Dave hit a button he ought not to have. but he's never going to fully admit it. And maybe subconsciously, I'm doing Charles Osgood's obituary without Dave for that reason, even though he's the biggest Osgood fan in the building.
Yeah, I think you're going to, deep down, you're going to do this for a while with him. Any story that definitely should right up his alley.
Yeah, just go with that.
Going to go on and do it.
You want to wait for Dave?
To him.
No.
Thumb my nose at him.
Got a story about the television show MASH? Do it now. But Dave, do it now.
Got some Andy Griffith news here. Do it.
Do it now.
I have an obscure reference to a 1950s TV show. Do it.
Hit it.
I got a joke here. The punchline is the man from U.N.C.L.E. Do it now. But Dave.
Now we're doing it. Red Buttons is in the news. Do it. Hit me with it. I don't want Dave here for this at all.
Gunsmoke.
We're going.
Nothing sends Dave off into the rapture like the mention of the word Gunsmoke. Did you see him light up when you said Festus? The name was, people weren't naming their kids Festus anymore. Dave lit up like a kid at Christmas.
That was yesterday because
that's one of the characters on Gunsmoke,
right.
a 70-year-old television show.
Finally.
We're doing a deep dive on Gunsmoke. Let's do it before Dave gets here.
Who was Miss Kitty? Whore with a heart of gold? Or saloon keeper?
I always thought she was a saloon keeper. I found out years later she may have been a whore with a heart of gold. I had no idea. That's Gunsmoke for you.
Yeah.
Charles Osgood was 91, and his family said he lived a charmed life and did everything he wanted to do and broadcasted. Now you heard him sign off. He signed off in 2016. He was 84 at the sign-off. That is incredible.
He had dementia, correct?
Yeah, he did. He did. I never knew that when he was on TV. Maybe he had to sign off because of dementia, and that was what eventually his cause of death was dementia. But his family said he had an amazing life, and that's true. I mean, early 90s and great broadcaster all those years.
You know, our one of our hardcore P1s, Myrtle Beach Doug, signs off every single email he sends to the show, and there are a lot.
Yep.
See you on the radio.
Correct.
I don't even know.
He may not know he got that from Charles Osgood.
No, there's no way. I don't think Myrtle Beach Doug is watching a lot of CBS Sunday morning.
Well,
he might surprise you.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. It's possible, but
I think he's listening to a lot of metal at that time.
Nonetheless, I think the phrase has become part of the culture, at least for some people. I'll see you on the radio. I think he invented it too, and that's the great Charles Osgood. We'll never speak of him again.
Yeah, we're not going to bring it back up.
Why would we? What would be the point of bringing that back up?
So Dave was speculating who gets the host duties.
Well, but Jane Pauley has the host duties. He's
speculating what happens when she leaves.
He says when Jane Pauley leaves, and I think that'll be a while more because she seems to really enjoy it. He's talking about Lee Cowan or Mo Rocca. And Lee Cowan fills in a lot, and Mo Rocca occasionally if Jane Pauley's
and Mo Rocca has quite a few segments on there.
He does, and I like him.
I think he'd be good.
But Dave said in the text, I wonder who'll take over when Jane. I hope to God it's not Lee Cowan or Mo Rocca. And I was like, well, it's got to be one of them. They always fill in.
They're 1 and 2.
I mean, 1 and 1A, really. But we won't discuss it more. There'll be no discussion of Charles Osgood. May he rest. His name has been spoken for the last time on these days.
Who's coming in next? Doesn't really matter.